Okay, so I will put it into the right computer. I think so. Uh, Hopefully you could. Okay, so hopefully you can all see the screen and hear me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to. There's a common programming test that that companies that I found that the companies use to test your ability to code. Because a lot of people they go to college, they learn how to code, and then they're thrown into the real environment, and it's like, oh my god, I learned how to code, but I don't actually really understand how to code. So one of the tests they use is called the FizzBuz test. So FizzBuz is basically a game that you can play, where if you have anything that's a multiple of 3, you would print fizz. Anything that's a multiple of 5, you print buzz. If they're both a multiple of 3 and 5, you print fizz buzz. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to have to do is we're going to create a range. So I'm going to use a for loop. So I'm going to say for I in range, and I'm going to say 1 to 101. By the way, I'm using Python at the moment. So, and the reason why I'm saying 101 is because the Python range function goes from 0, starts off at 0. So if I wanted to print 100 numbers, then I would have to have it go up to 101 to print 100 numbers. So it's, let's see if I get this right, n plus 1. But anyways, it doesn't really matter. And the one there just says to start at number 1. If I left that out, it would just start at 0. So we're just gonna say start, and the range is from 1 to 100. Well, anyways, so what we're going to do is we're going to have a for, and then we're going to test if the modulus of 3 equals 0. Then we're going to print fizz. I'm going to stick in an else statement here, and that's going to just print I, because if it's not fizz or buzz or fizz buzz, then we have to print out the number. I forgot to say that, but anyway. So we'll just do it for this here. Illegal target for. Oh yeah, there we go. Right. Okay, so I'm just gonna run this piece of code and see what happens. You can see I already was testing it beforehand, but I just want to run this bit. Okay, so let's have a quick look. 3, it's fizz. 6 is fizz. Okay, that's cool. So we've got the fizz down. Let's try and get the buzz. So we'll put in another if. Okay, if I modulus 5. Oh yeah, by the way, the modulus is kind of like the remainder. So, well, it's what left over when you, like, say if you do division and you have the remainder, whatever. The modulus is that remainder. So, for example, I don't know, 2 and 5 would go twice and 1 over. Well, your modulus would be 1, if you kind of get it that way. But it's also, modulus is also called clock arithmetic, so it's probably a little bit easier to do it that way. But you can Google up modulus and clock arithmetic. At the moment, all you need to know is I modulus 5 equals 0. That would mean that it's that it's a multiple of 5. So this time I'm going to print buzz to infinity and beyond. Okay, so let's run this again. That's great. So let's see. It should, yeah, buzz, fizz. That's good. So now let's see. Let's stick in another if statement. So we're going to say if I modulo 3 equals 0 and I modulo 5 equals 0, then what we're going to do, we're going to print FizzBuz. Okay, so let's try this. So we'll just run this. Let's run. Okay, so the first FizzBuz we should have should be 15, but we have a problem here. See, it has fizz, then buzz, then FizzBuz. So what we're going to do is, you see, what's happening is that the code is going through here and saying if that is equal to 0, then print fizz. If that is equal to 0, print buzz. So it's actually working fine. It's printing FizzBuz, but what you want it to do is check this here first. So we'll just grab that, cut that, paste that in here, and just move this up, and hopefully this will have fixed our issue. Now let's run this again. Okay, oh, it's still doing the same thing. I wonder why. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to make this into an else if. So, so let's run it now. Because it should be else if that, do that. So let's run it again. And it looks like, I think we've got it working. So, yeah, yes we have. See? So that's FizzBuz, done in a couple lines of Python code. Now I will admit I did have a look online before I did this, just because I knew how to do it. I just wanted to check to make sure I was doing it right. But as you can see, it's a pretty easy piece of code, and if you were asked to add in things like, say, I don't know, let's say if you were to change it to 7, maybe, all you have to do is change that to 7 and it will do it. Or if you need to add in another one, oops, change that back. There we go. So it's actually quite easy to change the variables. Now I suppose you could possibly make it a little bit easier, because like at the moment you have these variables here. So I guess you could, if you wanted to, let's say we create a variable called fizz, which equals 3, buzz, which equals 5. Okay? So what we could do is say fizz, buzz, fizz, buzz, and it should do the same thing. Now let's run this. Yeah, it does exactly the same thing. Let's see if we can get FizzBuz. What have I... Oh, yeah, this is what happens when I start doing things at night time. My brain kind of goes to sleep. So, right, we need to change that to fizz. And that to buzz. Not bugs, buzz. See? Buzz. So, if we just run this. There we go. So the reason why I did that to make it easier. So say if you're in an interview and they ask you to run this up and you run it up, this makes it easier because that means that you only have to change these two variables. You don't have to go in and start changing 3, 4, whatever. You just change those two variables there. So I could say 7 and 5 instead. So let's run it. Now it should be 14. Yeah. Now I'm not sure. Okay, so that's. So you can see how it works there. So it makes the code a lot easier to change. So I guess that's tonight's stream. I thought I'd just do that just for a bit of fun before I go to bed. And I hope you all enjoyed it. And if you did like it, comment whatever you want. And if I get enough views, I might try and do some more midnight coding. Actually, that'd be a good idea. The midnight coding challenge. Where I'll just try and mess around with something in Python. The next thing I might mess around with is probably, because I'm doing a data analytics course at the moment, a year-long one, and I'm really enjoying it. And we're going to be doing, down the road, we're going to be doing basically Python for data analytics, which is pandas. I've already started playing around with it, messing around, doing stuff like creating some data frames, looking at the data in it, just playing around with it, just to get myself familiar with the actual library. And some other stuff that I was interested was in stuff like natural language processing using the NLKT package, I think it's called, and also stuff like sentiment analysis and stuff like that. So like there a few months ago the Eurovision was on, and so I played around with a bit of sentiment analysis to see whether or not I could predict who was going to win the Eurovision using sentiment analysis. It failed, of course, but it failed because the Eurovision is the Eurovision. So I don't think you can use sentiment analysis to find out who's going to win the Eurovision, because as we all know, it's fixed. Okay. Right, so that's enough of me waffling on. So good night, and like I said, like it, whatever you want to do. And I am now out of here.